welcomes you to another session. And today we have with us Jael Varma, a
Hello.
very hi, a very powerful and gorgeous personality. Before I introduce her, let me just give a small brief introduction of Conversation is Talking Cures. It is a mental health initiative, and we hope it is not just an initiative where when you need therapy and you need counseling, you come to, but what we hope is to start a movement to start so that everybody talks about it. We want you to share your stories. It should be, we want mental health. We want the stigma associated with mental health, and the taboo associated with mental illness to we want to break all those shackles, and we want people to tell their stories. We want conversationists strives to start a new way of conversing. And in this series, we have today yet another powerful person, Joel. Joel, I welcome you, and we are very, very privileged to have you here with us today. Joel is a postgraduate in mass communication, and she works as an account director at a limited company, Bangalore. Uh, she's a poet and she's a writer, and she's published a poetry book called Living on the Edge in India and was part of the anthology Women of Eve's Garden. 10 women poets across the world were chosen to be featured in the anthology, and she was chosen from India to be published at Washington, D.C. That's very, very commendable. And it was accepted by Library of Congress to be added to their library's general sections. Um, something there are people who have very beautiful stories, and there are people who don't shy away from sharing those stories. And for Joel, after she lost her single mother to cancer, and being her mother was a primary caretaker, she went into depression and PTSD, which took a toll on her physical, mental, and emotional health. Therapy helped her tremendously, and she consciously worked hard on her wellness, being aware of each and every emotion and thought process, which changed her life immensely. She now has reached a stage where she's perpetually in the moment and practicing mindfulness. And in memory of her mother, she has started Yes Purti Foundation Trust to help the poorest of poor with cancer, creating awareness, donations, tie up with projects, etc. She's also into concept modeling, an avid traveler and voracious reader. She attends TV shows as panelist to talk about women issues and current millennial problems. In a nutshell, she is one person who's turned her pain into power. She dreams big, lives life vivaciously, and I think and the beauty and all that shows it reflects. So welcome to the show. And I the first question I want to ask you is, from where how what has your journey been? But before that, I just cannot resist. There is one poem of yours I read, Life Keeps the Score. I mean, I was
Yes.
just, I think you should start. I would definitely want you to start with that poem. It's such a powerful one, and it went all viral, and it is.
Yeah, I did. So, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Joel.
And thank you so much. When I hear somebody else talking about my journey, it feels like a movie, is this really did happen to me? Sort of a feeling. But yes, thank you so much for having me over. I'll start by reciting my poetry. Okay. Every time you grope a woman's breast and go home to be a good father to a daughter, life keeps a score. Every time you malign a woman's character, call her a whore, and go home to be an obedient son to your mother, life keeps a score. Every time you betray another woman, feasting on her love, and go home to be a loving husband to your wife, life keeps a score. Every time you sympathize with each victim you see on television, go home to beat the shit out of your wife, sister, mother, and daughter, life keeps score. Life always, always keeps score.
Fantastic.
My poetry is very raw, it's unpolished. So if it tend to scandalize a lot of people.
You know what? Things that are unpolished, they are real. Nobody wants the
Yeah,
polished, sanitized version of things. So, Jael,
yeah.
tell us something about yourself and how have you reached? Of course, I read out a little bit about your life, but how did
Mm-hmm.
you reach from in your own words? How did you
Okay.
work through and everything?
Yeah. So it's such a simple question, but so difficult. I was a single child to a single parent. My mother was a working woman. She was working as a deputy director for women and child development, Karnataka government. So my parents separated when I was young. So I wish my father sat me down and spoke. I would have understood. But parents always overlook such things and no, don't discuss things with their children, which is so important in the hindsight when I look back. So she was extremely workaholic, and I was left to tend for myself. Like that's when I started reading. So if I can certainly say, books nurtured me. In fact, it was my parents, my siblings, my best friend, everything. I started reading when I was 7. So I would want every one of you to read. You don't know how what it can do to you. And I started writing when I was 12. Okay, and I was extremely extrovert child. So what was happening within me, none of my teachers or my friends could notice, because outside I was this happy go lucky child, but inside I was very vulnerable. I was always wanting attention, or I always wanted teachers attention. So especially when a kid in a classroom would want that, it means she's lacking something back home. That's what always happens. And I finished my post graduation. But in the later stages, after I finished my graduation, my mother became my best friend. I used to discuss everything with her. I've never seen a human being as intelligent as my mother. So we was eating off very well. I was working. I was doing well. Even though I had that, a gnawing feeling of emptiness always. It started since childhood. Then she retired, and I wanted to travel the world with her. When everything goes well, you know how life is. So she had cancer, and I quit my job, uh, very well paid, good job. But I didn't even think twice. People told me you should keep a nurse. I'm like, no, I have to do this. So 10 months with my mother's cancer, I can't even put into words what I went through. My perception about life changed then. Like, I used to get boggled down by little things, but when I see people in cancer hospital, it changed everything. I mean, you just have to go and sit there for an hour. About religion, about politics, about institution, my own life, everything changed. Then I lost her. She died in my arms, and after that, I can say it's my rebirth. Like the process of grief, there was denial, there was anger, why me mentality, and all that. Then I started traveling. I had never even gone out to next station. My mother was extremely overprotective. I packed my bag and went to US solo trip for 2 months. And that country was so kind to me. I can't even put into words. So kind to me. I had my first poetry recital in Manhattan. You can't believe, ma'am, I spoke about against their country in their country, and I was applauded. I was like, wow, this is possible. And I came back. When I came back again, it was like a massive hit. I'm like, I was in a high. I'm like, oh my god, where I have come back? I'm so alone. I'm alone now. I don't have a mother. What do I do? That's when I was extremely suicidal. And then there was this little voice. I remember the moment, and it said, not like this, Joel. Even if you have to die, not like this. You haven't seen northern lights in Norway. You haven't seen Tasmania. You haven't seen the mighty Himalayas and sat and meditated. They're not like this. No, that changed my life. Then I spoke to one of my dear friend, and she referred a psychologist. I can say the best psychologist I've ever met, and I went to her for a year. I never went anywhere else other than that for entire year. And I used to come back home, read about it, and I was fascinated with psychology and how mind works. And after that, I did my crash course in counseling psychology, and life started unfolding. I stopped being fearful. Like I stopped being like, let's see what's going to happen. And that's when I discovered life. I always tell my friends, I've lost money, I've lost my mother, I lost my good friends, I lost everything. That's when I discovered my freedom. Nothing more can touch me, and I started enjoying life, relishing life. She used to do cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness. For me, my reality is right now I'm talking to you, that's all, and I'm completely here, I'm here. So surrendering to each moment.
It, I mean, that is the, in a nutshell, that's all life is all
Yeah,
about, in the
yeah,
moment and here. And uh, you know, it is it. You've moved on. You've done so many things. We read your posts, and please don't call me ma'am. It's just this, but I have read all your posts, and I wish I could show some of the modeling assignments you've done. They,
yeah.
and when you used to post those, we used to see those and all that. And I think, is it because you were in the moment that, even those modeling assignments, nothing, all those things, the highs, they never really. You're so grounded
Yeah, I mean, as I told you,
in
when I
every other
was,
foundation.
yeah, when I was in the cancer hospital, I realized how fleeting life is. I'm like, we worry about our future, so we worry twice. Before it happens, we imagine and I worry. And when it happens, we worry. I was like, kuch bhi ho. Let's see. Like, what tomorrow comes, let's see. You know, that's how it is.
So, any one poem that you like? Now, I first you recited what I liked. Uh, I will,
Okay, this is my book, which
yeah,
I dedicated to my mother. I wish she saw this, but she was. And I accepted my mother's death also. I wanted to tell acceptance is very, very important, you know. Complete, like I am feeling sad, I'm feeling melancholic, and people say move on. No, be with the grief. You want to cry, you want to howl, you want to scream. Yes, be with the grief, surrender to it completely, but don't get attached to the grief because people can tend to get attached to the suffering also. Move on to next. I'm happy, be there, but don't get attached to happiness again. You
yeah.
move on, you know, like a river. Okay, I don't know. Is it okay if it's also, I mean, most of my poems are, you know, it's for my father. Shall I?
Of course, please.
Yeah. I'm asking to other women about my dad. My dear woman, whom I want to hate, was my father a good lover? Did he kiss you wild? Did he whisper sweet nothings? Did he send flowers? Did he weep in ecstasy? Did he post love letters? Did he smell good? Was he passionate? Was he cruel? Was he tender? Was he intellectually stimulating? Was he man enough? Amidst all the chaos, did he ever talk about his little daughter? Did he love me enough? A tiny bit? Did you feel an ache in his breath? Was he worried at nights about my safety? Did he ever utter my name? How does it feel on his tongue? Does he look at the obituary every day in case justice sees my name? My dear women, no, I don't hate. I have loved you all. Yes, I have. After all, aren't we all one, longing for him? He leaves a longing in all of us.
Oh, this is beautiful. Yeah, you've transformed all your pain into your writing. It's
Yes,
sublimated
yes.
so well. I mean, that longing, and if I have to really read your poem, one can see the longing, one can see. But when one talks to you, one also knows that it's like, okay, so what? That's where you've
Yeah,
expressed your agony and the ecstasy
yeah.
over. Okay, so when we started this, we want to know who is Jael. People would want to know who's Joel. And I think I'm getting it wrong. The J is silent. It's a Hebrew
No,
name.
it's a Hebrew name. The right pronunciation is Yael. It's in the Old Testament.
Right.
She is
Okay.
one of the most
Right.
powerful women in the Bible. So God uses femininity to do masculine things. She
Hmm.
actually hammers a nail into a man's head. She kills him. So I usually tell it to my male colleagues. They're like, "Okay, we get it." So, but in India, they call me Joel.
Joel. Okay.
Yeah, Joel. I'm okay with Yael or
Yeah.
Joel. So,
So,
what am I? Yeah, that's what you asked me.
yeah.
See, when I was growing up, I used to read all these novels like Jane Eyre, David Copperfield, Oliver Twist, and all. I can't. even tell you how it I felt, I felt like I had a friend. So I thought one day I will write. No, it's okay no matter what. It can be simple English, it can be just my honest feelings.
Hmm.
Somebody, no matter where she is or he is, should read my work and feel, wow, somebody had understood me. I'm not alone. That is my goal. That is how I define success. No, when I got into a job, I thought, okay, maybe retail therapy would make me happy. I shopped so much. No. Then I thought maybe bank balance would make me happy. No, my friends or relationship, nothing. I realized, I'm just that little girl where the rainbows make me happy, or flower makes me happy, or my cat makes me happy, or when I break the coconut, I'm like, wow, I did. That is what makes me happy. Nothing materialistic anymore.
That's fantastic. And can I share session? And so when we started this session, we couldn't connect to. We had so much of problem and everything, and then it
Yeah,
just fell into place. And
yeah.
I was so these are small things about you, that.
Mm.
So you want to tell us about those small things that,
Like what?
like leaving your
Headphone.
speakers
Yeah, I mean, I
headphone.
was using it, and I like searched the entire house, and it was in the bathroom. And sometimes I misplace the lighter, and I'm like, I had to call my friends, like, you remember last time I was talking to you, where was the lighter? She's like, it's in the fridge. So I actually, the lighter was in the fridge. So I have these pets living with me, my dog, cat, and a bird, and constantly have this conversation. I tell them about the lockdown. Maybe during those moments I would misplace something, and
That makes you more livable. And
yeah.
so your poetry is not all this. There is a lot of. There are many. There is another one that went viral, and it's about you and on the relationship. And you write a lot on relationships. You write a
Yeah, I do.
etched on my, that's the one that has etched on my soul. And maybe I'll come back. I have that written. I thought I will read
Okay,
that.
I don't know
This
where
one,
I
my
have
body
it.
is a
Okay.
battlefield, waiting for you to that one. You want to read that, or you
Okay.
want me? Of course.
Can you read it
My
for me?
body is a battlefield, waiting for you to create symphony with scars, blood, dead bodies as instruments. Who knows? I might come back from the dead to dance to your tunes yet again, as always. Uh, is one. So you've written so many like these. You want to read out one more of your this for us?
To the man I have loved.
Yeah, to the man you've loved.
No, it cannot be loved. No, if it's love, it's
It's
perpetual, right? How
constant.
can you
All right.
stop
Yes.
loving? I had a different notion about love too. I when I was growing up, I believed in the concept of ownership.
Okay.
I love you, you love me. There was a like generally that's how the world works, right?
Yeah.
Then I told you after the rebirth, after my evolution, couple of reasons, and I told if I love you, it's okay. Why should I expect you to love me back? Isn't that barter system? Isn't that business?
That's
That
right.
understanding also helped me so much because there was so much of less expectation. The one who loves does not love in order to be loved. Like what Radha had for Krishna, that's unconditional. I used to ask my mom, whenever I was a rebellious kid, I'm like, only if I'm a good child, if I listen to you, I'm a good daughter, or else I'm not. What if I go to jail tomorrow? Won't you love me? And she's like, where do you learn such things? I have these questions constantly. Only if we fit in a certain box, people love us. Why not love beyond it?
Yeah.
Okay. 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 She never loved him. He never bothered. They had their life running on parallel tracks. What connected them was their insatiable appetite. They understood hunger, its powers, dangers, risk. They mirrored each other's dark souls. The more they pulled away, the closer they grew. They knew They were each other's food. Yet, meeting would be their distraction, the end, and nobody knew if they ever met.
That's very nice. Very nice. So,
Okay, yeah, this one. I like this one. Shall I?
yeah, of course, please.
My gypsy lover, never let me know when you'll return because I won't wait for you. You pack your bags, carry your guitar and tissue papers with my poetry. We carry our love like musical notes, creating music for our various other lovers. I know very well you'll always look for a woman like me. You will never find one, and that's my victory. I have tattooed all those places, etched with your love bites. My entire body is inked. That's your victory, and I shall never wait for you. Never.
Very nice. Very nice. So, what would you tell, people? Because, for some of us who've read or those who know you have seen you transform. But if you have to tell people to deal with all this, how would you tell them? Because it's one thing you've gone through the process. So, if you can break it up into bits and parts, because what would you tell people who are going through these difficult times and they have very few people to turn to, it's
Yeah, it's
I
true.
mean, virtually you've been all alone. So how would you,
Yeah.
how would you break it up into small things?
Okay, so see, there are it can be the toxicity from can be from parents or spouse or children, or it can be loneliness. It can be their own mental well-being. In spite of being privileged, people will
Hmm.
say you have everything. Why you're depressed? You know.
Yeah,
So fundamentally, I would always tell this to other people, and I told this to myself. I'm talking from experience. Breathe. Breathing is very, very, very important. We forget to breathe, we always look outside. Take a deep breath. Like, it's okay, you're not alone. It's okay, you're not alone. It's not easy. You need not compare your magnanimity of your grief with somebody else. You might cry for your pet dying, or you might be in a war zone. You cannot compare these two. Your grief is your truth, and it's okay to feel that. First is breathe, and second is you have to write down. That's what I do right now. I strategically, for example, I'm hurt. The grief doesn't go away like that. There is something, there is a kind of a trigger. I'm like, okay, today at this time, this is what I felt. And I next is like what triggered me. It can be a friend saying something, it can be a parent saying something. I'll write that down. Is this true, what they're saying? If it's true, how will it bother me? It's like a pyramid. You have to keep writing, dissecting like onion peel, like
yeah.
next, then you'll get to the core. And the trigger is not this, that something else. So breathe and write down. And nothing is permanent. Nothing, everything moves on. It goes. So I have lost my best friend to suicide, and I wish she spoke about it, but she never spoke about it. I'm fortunate to speak about things, and we expect our family and friends to understand, and sometimes they don't. So we can't blame them because they don't have the mental bandwidth to understand because they're not psychologists. So in case if you can get in touch with a counselor, it's okay. Talk to her. There are telephonic counselors. You can meet them. Please talk to a psychologist or a counselor.
It's a very powerful message because
Yeah.
most people don't. You've also worked with millennials, you say that. So, what do you think are the issues that millennials are facing? Where is it
In
that where the current you're working with a lot of them. So, what do you
Yeah.
think are the whatever we call the existential crisis? Are the trigger points that crisis?
Actually, I'm also a millennial, but still,
Yes.
yeah. So, instant gratification. That's the problem. See, we are living in a world of Swiggies and Zomatos and all. They want to be instantly gratified. Like they want something, they want it right away. They crave something, they want it. Like I think that is what is actually affecting them, and they seek validation outside. The world of social media. I love social media. Like I've met amazing friends and all that, but wanting that validation from it. Like, I have this amazing picture, why did I get only 200 likes? My friend got 400 likes. And that becomes a competition, you know. Then they try to compete with that. Like, no, stop seeking validation outside. You know you're pretty, you know you're beautiful in your own way. Stop. It's okay to write, it's okay to post. Even if you post 100 selfies, it's okay. Like, I don't judge anybody. They can write whatever, they can do whatever, because people who say they don't judge, they always judge people who post pictures. Like, it's their life, like each for their own. Stop seeking validation, and try to move away from instant gratification. Patience is a virtue. It's okay to wait a little bit. And being recognized is one of their fundamental aspect. They want to be recognized, you know. In my job also, we have this psychologist we work with, and he says once in every 7 days they want to be recognized. It can be just a pat on the back, you're doing great. Okay, so it's a good thing. So I think recognition is very important. Like, how many of our mothers never got recognized because, in spite of she cooking well? So those of you who are watching, when was the last time you recognized your mom or your dad? Or, I mean, start small. It's nice, you know. Just don't think only about yourself. Look around. It's a nice feeling, you know, to recognize other people also.
Yes. Yeah. So one millennial advising the other. I hope they will listen.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I think all these baby boomers, millennials, and all that, uh, it's also about experiences. You know, I have friends across the age group. I've seen 65-year-old men, you know, craving for love, attention, and I've seen an 18-year-old guy who's extremely mature. So I don't believe in age. I have a friend who's 64 and she's having so much of fun in life, and I've seen a 20-year-old girl who feels like she's dead. So
Yeah, that
age,
is
I
right.
don't believe in that. It's about what you feel within.
So when we are while we are discussing this, and this, how are
Mm.
you dealing with the lockdown?
Okay,
Because
I used to tell my friends I was quarantined before quarantine, so I know how,
I
because during
know.
depression I never went out. So it was okay initially because I never missed people as such. I was reading and all that. But eventually, when, you know, I saw people losing jobs, we had salary cards and all that, then it slowly crept in. Oh my God, what? And fortunately for me, I'm a good financial planner also. I don't have loans as such. I'm not dependent on somebody. So that also I'm little okay because I don't have much of financial, burden. Uh, but the freedom of not having to go out and do, and the fear, like even if I have to pick up the milk packet, that fear which is, and I don't like that fear. Gradually it became little, you know, difficult, because the fear is what I've always been trying to get away from, and the collective consciousness of the society is fear right now. And I think most of us, some of us admit and some don't. It's not a good feeling, but we are all coping up, so we don't have a choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
Yeah,
And
we don't have a choice.
what is your one coping mechanism? Of course, besides this, but I do you how do you maintain the Of course, you would be doing mindfulness, but what is the other anything dance or something that keeps you on your toes
Yeah,
and
I dance a
takes
lot. Yeah, and um, I climb the stairs and get down, go up, go and come down. Like, I count stairs. That actually has helped me also. And I drink water, and I take bath. Trust me, it helps a lot. I take bath. So these are all the things which we don't give importance to. And I sit in the balcony, and on the terrace I look at the stars. So I try to go away from that. You know, I don't watch news, and that's helped me a lot. I don't watch news. I just follow one of my friend, like, no, lockdown extend hua ki nahi, like, tell me what is the basics. I don't watch news. I think people should stop watching news.
that's sane advice going by.
Yeah.
And so if you could recite one more poem for us today.
Okay. When I read those poems now, I can see so much of intensity, you know, like Yeah, I like this point. When I decide to leave, what should I take along? Suitcases full of worn out clothes with their smells, bag of old letters half written, never delivered, kindness I found at unusual places from strangers, love I begged, pleaded, and never found, or love found sporadically, love bites, lust written all over my body. What shall I take when I leave the city? Memories I don't remember, those I madly love, those smiles, that warmth of her breast, pictures, his musky smell, his fronds, his coldness. What shall I take? Should I take all those things I bought, my passport, my PAN card, voter ID, my jewelry, the money I have hidden? What shall I take? My broken heart, those abuses, bruises, the lost innocence, dreams shattered, cruelty, my own madness, or my sensuousness, twinkle in my eyes, my smile, my laughter, my ample love, my curves, and my emptiness. I know not. What shall I take when I leave this city? Maybe I shall walk naked, taking nothing along. I know nothing is mine, nobody is mine. I am nobody. I shall be gone with no traces, no trail. I shall be gone. I just remember the migrants when I recited this. So
Yeah, that's one other crisis that you've been.
I think I'm going to write a poem after this. Something hit me right now with the same essence but on a different topic.
Okay. And if you have to, if you when you recall what as what your mother and she's been the influence in your life was this. I was something. So there were some things that you put out a post saying that okay, this
Mm.
she said, I agreed. This not done. So
Yeah,
you want to tell us about all those things and how you
yeah. I mean,
negotiated?
actually,
Yeah.
mm. She used to speak very less, but whenever she did, it was life lessons. So I was talking to one of my friend. I told a
Mm.
simplicity is the highest form of sophistication. So like wow. Then I thought, why don't I pen down whatever my mother? That's what my mother told. Okay, I'll just read whatever I've written, so it might
Okay.
help few of them. Her mantra in life was sincere efforts never go unrewarded. I'll tell you why. She was in a government high paying, I mean, high ranking job, but she was the only person who was not corrupt. And she has given some 4,500 jobs to physically challenged widows in areas like Hassan and Mysore. And she always told sincere efforts never go unrewarded. She was getting transferred every year, but still not even 1 rupee bribe. So that was her mantra. And she told, never judge a person's character by their profession. I'll tell you why. I was 14 and I told Amma that lady is a commercial sex worker. And she got so angry and she told, how can I judge a woman by her profession? That's her profession. Prostitution is a profession. That's not who she is. Never judge a person by their profession. I was like, wow. No, that's a phenomenal advice because a lot of people out there judge people based on their profession. And she said, yeah, simplicity is the highest form of sophistication and simple living and high thinking. She didn't own anything beyond 10, 20 saris. She was a Gandhian. Beyond that, no, nothing. When she died, all she had was me, her ashes, books, that's all. Not even single property. She never bought anything. No jewelry. So, and she told no compromise with hard work. I am a person who believes in smart work, but she always told hard work. And she told even when you clean your bathroom, it has to be with complete dedication. And I still clean my own bathrooms. I don't let my domestic help do it. No, this it's very therapeutic. Also, whenever I'm angry, I clean bathrooms. My anger is gone, and the bathroom is spick and span. So you guys should try that. When you're angry, clean the house.
Yeah,
And
it works.
yeah, and she told each and every woman should be qualified. As per her, graduation was like basic. Only graduation. That's all. That's how she used to tell. So yeah, studying is very important. And she told every woman should have economic independence, no matter what. I can't stress this enough. No matter how much you earn, you have to work. You cannot depend on your parents or spouse. Tomorrow your husband tells leave, then what? You have to have economic independence, and it gives you a sense of confidence. I can't even explain in words how much today I'm confident irrespective of what has happened to me. It's because I'm economically independent. And uh, and she told me, the moment a man borrows money from you, dump him.
Okay.
So, okay, guys, don't blame me if your girlfriends or your spouses dumps you. And freedom with responsibility. Like, I live alone now, but I know my responsibilities. I know where to draw the boundaries. That's very important. And self respect above everything. All my life, I thought love was above everything. Right now, if you ask me, it's self respect. I agree with her. And she told me a way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
So you
Maybe
agree
I'm
with
not
that?
found. I don't know how to cook. That's why I have not found the right man yet. I'm learning. I might.
Okay.
So read, read, read. I can't stress enough. She was a voracious reader herself, and I have some 4,500 books today. So please read. And she always used to tell, my hands are not greased. Whenever a politician used to come and give dhamki, she's like, do whatever you want, my hands are not greased. And she told me never forget a humiliation. I actually forget. I'm more forgiving times than my mom, but she never forgot. So always be punctual. I try to.
Mhm.
Not proud to say that I'm always on time. Yes,
Yeah.
and she told me colleagues can never be your friends, and it has to be professional. You cannot go and share about your personal life with them. She told, always have that demark, like colleagues and friends are different. They cannot be. But I have had good colleagues who are my friends. Maybe after I quit the job, so that's what she believed. And appearance and approach, two important is. Even I believe that. I'm not saying you have to be decked up like a circus monkey, or you just have to be, even in spite of whatever you believe, your appearance is very very important. You have to look clean. You have to dress clean. And approach, the way you approach a person. And I am a person who believes in manners. The way you shake hands, the way you give your cards, the way you open the door or pull a chair, very, very, very important. Chivalry. And stay hungry for knowledge. The moment you feel you have learned everything is the death. You have to be. And she told me morning stress is very important for good health. And and she told donate each month. I do even now, whatever I can. Not a huge amount, whatever I can afford, I do it. And always save for a rainy day. I can't stress enough. I'm sure all of you, the lockdown would, those who are doing well know that, whatever you saved else. And gender equality and equal pay, no matter what. If you're doing the same job as your colleagues, you have every right to ask for the same pay. Wake up early and wear cotton clothes. She always told her, but now I usually wear clothes which come from the earth, like silk or jute or cotton. And she always thought anything more than necessity is robbery.
That's a very, very beautiful.
Yeah. And you have to be hygienic, very important. And she told the man, the day a man hits you, you have to leave. No choice, no compromise. Or maybe I was at fault. No, the day he hits you, it's out. That's what she told
Powerful.
me. Yeah,
Very
it's
powerful.
powerful. Yeah.
And if I have to, if we have to ask you one moment that you really treasure, which is your, what would you describe as your best moment or best memory that you just, even if you're anytime you just think of it and it kind of just takes you to a different world.
Yeah, it's usually, if I have to think, yeah, I have had a great conversations with my mom, which I treasure the most. From after I used to come back from work, we used to have a cup of coffee and discuss about politics or geography or anything and everything. And I treasure that conversations. Conversations are very, very important. And other than that, when I sleep in the night or wake up in the morning, my cat is next to me and my dog, and we're all breathing in tandem. I could hear their breathing, and I feel so beautiful. The entire setup, like three species together breathing in tandem, and I can't even tell you how happy it makes me feel. I'm so blessed to, we have four species: a bird, a cat, a dog, and myself. living in harmony, and we human beings struggle to live in harmony. My God.
And it's, you, this is so beautiful. Yeah, that's one thing that always stands out. Even otherwise, the difference between a very an ordinary person like and an extraordinary person is just the sensitivity, and that's what you. Everything else, it's just the sensitivity and enjoying the small things in life, which most of us just tend to overlook and ignore or whatever. We are so lost in ourselves, and this has been a very grounding interview for us. And I mean, the time also just flew by. So can we request you for another one of your poems?
I would love to. Yes. I written something. Okay. They confessed their truths for the first time. The world kept their lies well. Truth pierced them like a spear. It wasn't that bad. Able to tell the truth, they were drunk with love that couldn't ever be erased. Truth and love, what a beautiful combination. They were lovers, stabbed by the pine needles of love and truth. They brought each other pebbles, daubed with tenderness and warmth, every time they lied to the world. They crooned love songs, whispered the truth to each other's neglected ears because they lied to the world. The world looked beautiful with their best kept lies, and the truth was safe in their arms.
Very beautiful, very beautiful. And we, if there are any questions anybody would want to ask, you can ask, because I mean, if there are any other questions, I don't know if you can see the comments here. There are a lot of people
No,
are
I can't. How do I
so
see it? I'm so new to all this. I feel so
there are,
ancient.
yeah, they're saying you're speaking directly from the heart, and there's Sonia who says that authentic, no hypocrisy. Why till we start facing reality, raw, brutal truth about how bad the situation is and in India is, and how hard it is to speak up. Wonderful message. Then we have, that you're good, honest, at reaching the deepest human feelings, expressions, and absolutely soulful conversation. And I mean that even yesterday, the person we had Mansi Bhagdev here, and she also stressed on the same thing, that you live through your grief, and it is again you have to go through those stages, of maybe beginning with denial to acceptance, anger and pain and depression, and then you accept, because you can denial will not help. And I think you've restated that, you've told us the importance of conversations, and this is one such very, very powerful conversation. And I'm really we
Yeah, and I would like to also say, see, we all want others to be nice to us. We all want others to be sensitive to us, sensible towards us, give us boundaries. What are we doing? Like, if we question ourselves, when was like, im- when that friend wanted to reach out to you, or when when somebody was hungry, or when your parents wanted your attention, where was the sensitivity? So why do you, when everybody wants to be takers, who will be the givers?
be the givers. And is there any other message that you would like to give to all of us, or what?
Just live passionately and forget about reputation. Go, you want to climb the Mount Everest, get a tattoo, fall in love, do whatever. Tomorrow is never, never, never promised.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
And uh, I'm not getting enough. I just feel tempted to tell you, okay, can you read one more poem? But
No, if you have time, I can one maybe.
okay, please do that.
Okay. You fall in love often happens because of varied people, thoughts, your own loneliness to fill the void. Many times, mostly, always, you move on, you grow apart, you hang in, you stick around. If you're lucky enough, you'll meet someone who will change you, and like how. Not your habits or your thinking or living, They get into your DNA, cut you open, dissect, and change it completely. Before you realize it, you hear the deafening sound of your heart breaking. Sometimes, very rarely, you break your heart in the right way.
Oh, with that, very nice. Very. So, uh, I don't know. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for
Yes.
um, this wonderful, wonderful conversation. It's never enough, and I hope we can get you again. And
Yeah, sure.
because we need more stories like yours, and for conversations, because we want people to talk about it. We want people to share their stories, to
Mm,
share this.
mm,
Only then people won't tell their stories, still people won't reach out. There will be many who will be lost to depression, and any suicide that happens is a loss. It's not, that shouldn't happen. And there is, it's not about when you're, see, when you're ill, you reach out, उससे कोई फायदा नहीं होता है. It should be about, even in normal this, it should be a normal thing for us to talk, because when we talk to people, we maintain the sanity. Joel here, and it's thank you so much. And you want to have the last word?
yeah, and the moment you guys, whoever is watching, pick up the phone and talk to that person you've been wanting to talk, do it as soon as you leave this live session. And to all of you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I know, and all those people, if you feel, please write into conversationist talking cures. You have a story, you tell us, हम आपकी story share करेंगे. अगर आपके पास, you want to, if you want, we would love to host you and आपकी story share करेंगे. Please talk, reach out, like Joel has just said. Make that phone call. It may just be the life change. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Bye.
Right, right.